morning, everyone. We are excited you are joining us today. This is CAP Tulsa's Kindergarten Transition Panel for the school program term 2021-2022. Again, we'll be doing this virtually, so we'll have a couple of things to run through that may look a little bit different if you have experienced any of this in the past. So really quickly to get into our agenda, we will be going over what it looks like for readiness to school success and how we can be of support to you and your family. And then we will go into panelist introductions and for you to get to know who is on this call today and what magnet and charter schools are represented. So during this session, we do have the capability for interpretation. Symbol is your opportunity to either select Spanish or Zomi, whichever one that you prefer. And then for everyone else, please select English if that is your preferred language. And there will be the separate channels to where you can ask questions or engage and be able to hear simultaneous translation in those preferred languages. Also at the bottom of your screen, you will have the opportunity to submit all questions using the Q&A button. You will notice it at the bottom of the screen, just to the left of chat. And then there is also a chat box for help. We will be manning that during the presentation. And it also gives an opportunity for you to message any monitors or interpreters for assistance. So if there's any kind of technical difficulties that you experience or you need assistance, please feel free to use the chat box and we'll be able to help you that way as well.
I'll ask that our interpreters introduce themselves. And after the interpreters have introduced themselves, we will be starting the interpretation service.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Iván. Voy a ser el intérprete el día de hoy. Si tiene alguna pregunta, siéntase en confianza de añadirla en la caja del chat. Voy a estar haciéndolo simultáneamente, así que si tiene alguna pregunta, siéntase en confianza de hacer cualquier pregunta que tenga. My name is Ivan and I will be the interpreter today. If you don't mind pacing yourselves, and if you have any questions, just send us a message in the chat. Thank you.
Hey, Tammo Zinka kay kamin yang sen hi na kay tuni hi tena campaigning mo ay pawa campaigning hi na hi pen tan muju pana tan lang akat na di nga mo to si he kilai na akisam te mo sang hi sang ina sang ton to ma akisam te ina ama ong ken ding ina to te ken kamu pen sak ding hi ki mo tong te sang no meng hi anwaya bên trong amal sẽ mà về như nào dầu lai mà dầu power ở đây thế nào dầu power ở đây thế là ai nào định phát ôm mình nào và định nắm hết các những chuyện mà trong thời gian nào mình. Hi, this is Niang. I will be your Zomi translator.
Hi, my name is Abby Espinosa. I will be another Spanish translator. If you have any questions, if you mind putting it in the chat box and I will gladly help you. Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Abigail Espinosa. Si tiene alguna pregunta o algo, si hace favor de escribirlo en la caja de preguntas para poder yo hacer la pregunta y ayudarle. Gracias.
Okay.
And at this time, we'll ask that all speakers will switch to the English channel.
Miriam, where is that?
So it will be, you should see a small icon that looks like a bit like a globe.
Ah, gotcha. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, and at this time, we are going to turn this over to Julie Keel, and she is going to discuss a little bit more about our CAP Connect program and how this ties into transitions. Julie, I believe you're still on mute.
Okay, good morning. Hello. My name is Julie Keel, and I'm the alumni specialist with the CAP Connect program. And the CAP Connect program is a new program offered to families whose children have recently graduated from a CAP school and entered the public school system. And the program offers families monthly virtual visits where the child's development and educational outcome is focused on, and as well as things such as school routines and parent-teacher conferences, homework help and tips are discussed. And we offer monthly virtual group connections where families can meet each other and share ideas, and children can engage in fun learning activities. And the CAP Connect program hopes to ensure that program gains achieved during the CAP years are sustained throughout the school years.
Thank you so much, Julie, for sharing that information about CAP Connect's program. Okay, and so with that, so before we begin our panel discussion, we would like to talk about how parents can reinforce their child's readiness to ensure success in elementary school. So kindergarten readiness is a concept used to describe the domains of a child's early learning development as they relate to preparedness for school. So readiness domains include academics, or how a child learns to study and reason, health and wellness, a child's physical and mental well-being, self-care skills, how well a child can groom and feed themselves, and social emotional development. So how well a child is able to manage their emotions and their capacity to develop meaningful relationships. So development can be sustained and reinforced across each readiness domain. And for example, parents can continue to strengthen their child's early learning math and literacy skills by fostering curiosity, comprehension, and communication in language arts, math, science, and social studies. And those domains can also be sustained through additional supports as well. So for example, parents are able to support health and wellness by staying up to date on child's routine checkups, health screenings, and appointments. And they're also able to stay up to date and help sustain development in health and wellness by preparing healthy meals and snacks. Parents can also use meal times and bedtime routines to model self-care activities and carry out daily tasks. And for those parents seeking to sustain development in the social and emotional development domain, they can seek extracurricular activities and opportunities for learning to establish connection and to help sustain that social and emotional development. And so in addition to those supports that we've just discussed briefly, attendance can also be an important factor in impacting school success. So it's important for your child to attend school regularly in kindergarten to help your child acclimate to their new school environment. Chronic absenteeism or missing 18 or more days of school can really impact a child's ability to build relationships with teachers and classmates. And missing 2 days of school each month can also affect a child's ability to develop literacy skills. And tardiness can also lead to increased absences. Unexcused absences and tardies can disrupt the whole class progress. And so with that, we'll move into panel introductions.
Hi, my name is Brianna Brinkley. I am the operations manager at College Bound Academy.
Hi, my name is Jessica Siqueiros. I work with College Bound Academy. I've been working for College Bound Academy. This will be my 3rd year. I started as a student support, and now I work directly with our families and parents.
Hi, my name is Whitney Matthews. I'm one of the directors here at Collegiate Hall, and I have been here for 2 years. And I'm also, just a FYI, a proud Eisenhower International School parent. Thanks, Connie.
Hi, I'm Olivia Owens. I'm the elementary principal at Dove Science Academy. I'm here representing 2 campuses that we have here in Tulsa. So we have Dove Science Academy on Memorial, and then we also have Dove School of Discovery at about 41st and Mingo. And both of them have a kindergarten program. I've been with these campuses for 10 years now, and I'm really excited to see what we have to offer.
I'm not sure if one of my colleagues from Disney is here, but I do work closely with the principal there, Donna Guilford. She's a dear friend of mine. And I can talk just a little bit about dual language programs as well. But I am Connie Horner, and I am the principal of Eisenhower International School, where we learn in French and Spanish. So, yeah.
Thank you all so much. So as you all heard, we are joined today by representatives from College Bound Academy, Collegiate Hall, Dove Science Academy, and Eisenhower International School. So our panel discussion today will be framed around 8 frequently asked questions. After the discussion of those questions, panelists will answer questions from the chat box. And so with that, we'll get started with question number 1. What is your district or program's enrollment process? And can you complete the enrollment process without a state or federally issued identification card? And Connie, would you like to start us off?
Sure, I would be happy to. So our district's enrollment process is first and foremost looking at the district website. You'll be prompted for the enrollment process, what the expectations are. It has, it'll be January 5th is the first day that you can enroll, I believe. We are going to be doing several different expos this year, and that's coming up. I know Eisenhower's is on January 22nd, and that's going to be one location where families can come and then be able to travel by bus out to the school site. And so we're really excited. It's brand new, so we're just learning more information about that. Eisenhower will also have tours that you can come see the building. Those tours will be either on the expo day on the Saturday of January 22nd, or we'll have at least 2 other times, one during December and one in January. Actually, I think we're going to do 2 in December and 2 in January, so that in the evening, so that you can come on site and actually see our building and walk through it. And then we'll do a short presentation with 3 different sessions. So we're really looking forward to that because we haven't had parents in the building for quite some time. And then I texted to see about the answer to the question about the enrollment process without a state or federally issued ID card. I believe it's a yes for our enrollment, but I'm waiting to see what enrollment tells me. Hopefully they're going to text me and say yes, but I'm pretty sure it is. I don't believe that we ever turn anyone away. And I know that that we do and are excited to service undocumented people as well. And so we're super excited to have any child at Eisenhower and Tulsa Public.
Thank you, Connie. Who would like to connect?
We have a little bit different of a process. Do you mind if I explain there as well, Miriam? Hi, so like I said, I'm with Dove Science Academy, also Discovery School of Tulsa. The process for us is a little bit different. We do have our application online and do also require a federal ID, just like, or state ID, just like the other schools. However, we also have a lottery system that students have to go through. So in order to enroll in our school, around December, January, you can go onto doveschools.org and put your application in for the campus that you wish to go to. And you can use the other campus as a backup as well, in case you don't get your child in through the lottery system, which happens in March. So there's an automated lottery system. We usually do a Zoom event for that so parents can join. But right after the lottery, the secretaries from the campus that you're selected for will contact you to make sure that you do still want to enroll with our school and get you all the paperwork you need to get your student enrolled. As far as coming to the campus and visiting, our campuses are open for appointments, so you can come visit. Discovery is probably the one that has the best chance of getting in to see the teachers right now, because Dove has some exciting news of moving campus in for the 2022 school year. So either way, contact campuses and you'll be able to meet the people at the schools as well.
It's just like Dove Academy, College Bound Academy as well. We, as authorized charter school, we have open enrollment during TPS open enrollment, which is January 5th through the February 11th. We also have assistance for our parents that will need help to enroll during those times. We will have open house on January, as well as Eisenhower mentioned, we will have as well a January 22nd tour at our school. So you're more than welcome to stop by our school during open enrollment, so we can assist you and help you. On regards on the documentations, we also need a federal state ID, but you're more than welcome to bring your country valid passport or ID as well too. It's just that has to be valid and not expired. And as well, I do want to mention that we are also a lottery based due to the limited seats. We are lottery based school.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you.
And just for families that are curious or need that support, those of us that are partner schools with TPS, College Bound and Collegiate Hall, and then TPS schools, Disney and Eisenhower, you can go to enroll.tulsaschools.org, and that would be kind of the hub for your lottery and your ranking and any school. So I put that link in the chat.
Thank you, Whitney. Okay, and with that, we'll move to our next question. What is your district or program's attendance policy? And Whitney, would you like to get us started?
Absolutely. We know that students that are in class and learning is the best way to grow those big brains. And we know that that impacts so much down the line, from reading readiness all the way down to high school graduation. So we want our students in person. We want them in the building learning. We also know that families we're all trying our best. So we do work with families and perhaps brainstorm on how can we maybe carpool. We have our own transportation system. So our bus program is really robust to make sure that friends get to class so that we can see their smiling faces and continue growing and learning with them.
Thank you, Whitney. Who else would like to join on this answer?
Hi, so I'll just let you know, like, of course, we want all the kids to be there, but we do have a really strict attendance policy, and that is that students have to be in attendance for 90% or more of the school year. So generally that equates to about 17 to 18 days allowed for absences, but we really try to keep that to a minimum.
Thank you, Olivia.
Hi, we kind of follow along the same lines that we expect our scholars to be here 90% of the school year. Our school day begins at 7:30 in the morning and ends at 3:30 in the afternoon. So it is imperative that scholars get here in the morning so that they can get breakfast and start their morning routines and just have a great day. We do work with families. So if there are any times that, things just happen, we definitely encourage our families to communicate with us, call us to let us know what's going on. If it's like a death in the family, or if there is a doctor's note, any of those things, then we'll, excuse those absences. But unexcused absences can cause a scholar to be dropped from our program if they don't submit documentation or call us before 8:30 in the morning.
Thank you, Brianna.
And then I can add that with Tulsa Public Schools, it's 10 consecutive days that would cause a student to be dropped. But there are pathways back, and we love to work with our families and our students. And just as Brianna said, we just believe in really helping the whole family and want to make sure that we are providing supports or giving supports or information around supports to help, because our most important goal is for your child to learn. And they do need to be here to do that. And we appreciate that you get them here in amazing circumstances.
Thank you, Connie. Okay, and so if there were no other responses to this question, we'll move on to our next one, which is, how does your district or program support children with special needs? And so additionally on our panel today, we have Andy Cooper from CAP Tulsa, and she'll give a little bit of background of how children with special needs are supported at CAP. And then we'll move into to answering the question to learn how they go on to be supported in kindergarten, excuse me. Andy, would you like to take us away?
Yeah, thanks, Miriam. So at CAP Tulsa, we have a fully inclusive model for all children with special needs or suspected disabilities. We work as a team to identify those concerns, and we partner with public schools within the Tulsa County area to make sure that these children have appropriate documentation and identification for an IEP whenever they transition into the public school or a charter school. And then what we do after we identify them, whenever these kiddos are transitioning into the public school system, we like to have a transition meeting for our children so that the parent can also understand what the next program looks like that they're going into and what the services are that are available for each of the children in the schools that they're going to.
Thank you, Andy. Jessica, would you like to tell us a little bit more about how that process continues at College Bound?
I'll jump in on this one. So we individualize support to meet our individual needs. Of course, we accept all children and all families, and we believe that all children can learn. Our motto is that college begins in kindergarten. So we love those transition meetings that happen with families. But in addition to that, we offer occupational and physical therapy on site for qualifying students through an IEP. We also have in-class support, so scholars are getting targeted interventions in class, but we also have special ed certified teachers that will pull scholars for small groups, as well as we have a fully inclusive special ed classroom for scholars that have severe disabilities. They're still integrated into their home classroom so that they can get that social interactions with their peers, but they get some more targeted learning through a fully inclusive classroom throughout the day.
Thank you, Brianna.
Like Brianna, Dove offers very similar programs. Everything's according to the student's IEP and their specific goals. For other students with special needs, like considering like EL services, things like that, we also have some teachers to help children like obtain those like language goals as well. And then we look at our students who are considered gifted as, you know, students who are kind of on that individualized education plan. So there are special paths for them as well, classes, pullouts, and interventionists that help them reach their goals that maybe don't necessarily get met with the whole class learning.
Thank you, Olivia. And Whitney, I saw that you were coming off mute.
I would love to share with you guys. So at Collegiate Hall, 100%, we know that's what's best for learners who have disabilities or who may be on a different path of learning is probably what's best for all kids. We know that there's a variety of different styles of learning. And so we incorporate that into our play-based classrooms at that kindergarten level. We bring that in. We have 2 teachers in each classroom. We have a lead teacher and a teacher's assistant to help to support those students as they're learning, to maybe pull out and within the classroom reinforce some of those concepts in a way that those students might be able to understand and comprehend a little bit better. And we also have targeted interventions where we might bring in our student support team and provide additional opportunities for learning to meet those IEP goals. We also bring in on-site speech, OT, physical therapy as well. And we try to incorporate that into all aspects of our learning so that they're really, all of our friends are part of this community, and we know that that's the best way for everyone to move forward. So.
Thank you, Whitney.
And I'll just kind of jump on there because Whitney said much of what we do at Eisenhower as well. And we are fortunate that we have so many services on site for our students. We do in kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, completely abandon English. And we teach in the target language of French or Spanish. And oftentimes parents that maybe have a child that's already diagnosed with an IEP or may suspect or may not even realize their child might have a learning disability, think, well, maybe this isn't the appropriate program. But if you think about life in general, we have students that are with disability needs in countries all over the world that speak all different languages. So it isn't a language issue. And so I just want you to know that we have supports here at Eisenhower. We have a robust program for our kids that have special needs. We do additionally sometimes give them what we call a BVAT, which is a language test first to see if the Spanish language or the French language or the English language are a determining factor in some of the learning things that we're seeing. And so, because we want to rule that out first, because language development is also very unique to every child. And so sometimes when kids sit silent, it isn't a learning disability, but rather a language disability at that time. And so, so please don't count us out. We have lots of lovely programs and supports in place. We have a dynamic team. And we have a robust, what we call child study team, which is a team of administrators, support staff, teachers, counselors, ESL, special education teacher, all together, where we literally work and observe your child and look at them in unique circumstances, look at them with peers, look at them in the classroom, outside of the classroom during transitions, to put together the puzzle of your unique child and figure out what best works, what best fits. And I would say all of my colleagues on the call have those same type of supports as well.
Thank you all so much for sharing about the your approach, different approaches to inclusive practices. Thank you. And our next question is, what accommodations are made for children with health needs or dietary restrictions? And what documents are necessary? And for this question, Olivia, would you like to get us started?
Sure. So if students have different health needs or dietary restrictions, we're totally open to discussing those with families. Depending on what they are would depend on what documentation is necessary. So we have students who have dietary restrictions due to religious needs, and just communicating with the teacher is probably going to be the best way to make sure that those needs are met in the classroom or in the cafeteria. The issue of like health needs, once again, it's going to kind of depend on how severe or what type of need. But in general, a doctor's note and then discussion with our on-site nurse and the classroom teacher is going to really help meet those children's needs for their health or dietary restrictions.
Thank you, Olivia.
I will jump in for College Bound. College Bound is a nut and seed-free school with, similar to what Olivia said, depending on the accommodations that the student needs, will be requiring the type of documentations that we'll ask from the parents. But the most common ones is dietary and allergies. And for those, we work closely with their cafeteria to make sure that all those accommodations are met for our students, as well as, you know, the safety of our students is our #1 priority. So we want to make sure that those accommodations are being followed, as well as documentations will need a physician note so that our cafeteria can follow it as the physician is requiring from us to follow it as well too. And like she said, the religious, religious based, that's more with a parent note, so we can have it in their files and make sure that we let the necessary staff members, for example, their teachers, to be aware, as well as the cafeteria, and make sure that it's more confidential. You know, it's confidential information, so we want to make sure that it stays in who it needs to be aware of that situation.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Thank you for sharing that accommodations are also made at College Bound. And if there weren't any other different processes for the other public school, the other programs, then we'll move on to the next question. Okay. So how can families access resources for uniforms and school supplies? Whitney, would you like to get us started?
Absolutely. We are able to provide all of the basic school supplies that our scholars need. Of course, no one on this panel would turn down hand sanitizer or cleaning wipes, I promise. But we just ask that students be ready to be in uniform. We offer uniform orders at the beginning of the school year. We also have a scholarship program to help with those uniform orders to ensure that our scholars show up ready to learn and feeling confident. So that's how we operate. We also have access to our food pantry and several other community resources if those are needed, because we are here for our families and not just our scholars.
Thank you, Whitney. Connie, would you like to speak to?
Yeah, I'll jump in for Eisenhower. So Eisenhower is a uniform school. And so we do several times during the year, and we certainly will do it after the lottery process, and we know our new pre-K and kinders that are coming. We have uniform resales where we have slightly used uniforms here on property that already have the logos and all those types of things. We also have, I do 2 outreach programs in different quadrants in Tulsa, and I work with 2 churches, and we've done some uniform giveaways. And then our PTA is very generous, and they give me dollars to use at will. And so I do frequently use those dollars to help families in need. And so we find a way to help someone get their uniform, and we believe strongly in that. So, yeah.
Thank you, Connie.
For CBA, our supplies, we do request some supplies in the handbook, but they are optional since the most essential school supplies we provide for them. But those things, of course, like, Whitney said, we're not going to turn down some hand sanitizers or wipes in our school, especially during these times, but they are optional for our parents. As well as uniforms, like they mentioned, we do have a uniform assistance in our school. We also have some of our amazing parents that donate gently used uniforms. You know, kids outgrow their uniforms and sometimes they wear it once, twice. So we have an abundant source of uniforms that we have here at school that if a parent mentions, you know, hey, you know, for some reason I need assistance with uniforms, we'll give them the uniforms as well too. And we have them throughout the year due to, you know, our parents having kids outgrow their stuff. So then we have an abundant supplies for them throughout the year as well too.
Thank you.
Miriam, if I may add, we share with our families in March when we know that you'll be joining Collegiate Hall, what our uniform expectations are, so that you have spring and summer all the way up until school starts to be gathering those things. For us, it's black sweatpants or gray sweatpants or gray gym shorts, but we tell everyone ahead of time so that you guys can look for the deals and find the best way to get those uniforms for you. So that's something we try to give a lot of time to acquire those uniforms.
Thank you, Whitney. That's great. It's really interesting to hear how you all support families with those resources and then also give them the opportunity to plan ahead. Thank you. Okay. And with that, we'll go to our next question. So does your district or program offer parent associations? How can families volunteer? And Connie, would you like to get?
Absolutely. I'm so fortunate, as are our families and students. We have a wonderful parent-teacher association here at Eisenhower and an Eisenhower Foundation. We do one internal fundraiser typically per year, and that really kind of helps to cover most of the costs of the needs of our students, which is just amazing. And they provide things like field trips, extra things that we wouldn't be able to do. They meet once a month as a unit, and we always encourage families to be involved, and we're always so glad when they're here. Matter of fact, this Thursday night is our first in-person PTA meeting again at 6 p.m. and anyone is invited to attend. We will definitely be encouraging people that are considering Eisenhower to come to those in the spring, just to get a feel for the building and another look at the building, as well as any of our students that through the lottery process get in. We start including them and have a welcoming party in the spring. And so that's a wonderful way to get involved with parents. And then we have volunteers daily. Matter of fact, today we have our first 2 in 2 years, I think it is. So we're excited about that, yay. But we volunteer in the library and other locations in the building. We want you here because we realize that your children are our opportunity to learn and grow. And so we know that we're in partnership with you because we know that that's the most precious thing a parent can give is their child to us 6.6 hours a day. So we honor that. I also have outreach programs that we're doing this year. So we'll be posting those on our website very soon. And I'm partnering with some churches in different quadrants. And so I'll be doing some outreach there too. And we would love for any of our parents or people that would like to volunteer at Eisenhower to be involved in those too, to help us grow our community and understand inclusion and equity. And so we're very excited about those things.
I'll add, if you're interested in helping to start a parent program, Dove Science Academy doesn't currently have a formal parent association, but that's something that we're trying to start here. So if you're wanting to get in on the ground floor when your kid comes in for kindergarten, this is a really great place to start that. There are parents who come in and volunteer. Just like with Connie, our school doors haven't necessarily been as open as they had in the past due to COVID restrictions, but we're opening them up just a little bit more each week and trying to get parents in here, because at the end of the day, like, our mission is to get the strong ties between parents, students, and teachers. So we want to see parents and have them physically involved in the building. And there's a lot of volunteer opportunities that we have within the school.
Thank you for sharing that, Olivia. Would anyone else like to add?
Yes. So for us, family involvement is very crucial in the child's educational life. We encourage our parents, to have that strong, developed, positive partnership with our school, as well as our staff and faculty. Parents are more than welcome, once they joined, to join our PTA once they have arrived, and, so they can be informed of all these school activities and how can they volunteer for those school activities as well too. We also have, school projects that they can volunteer as well too. Like, I know that coming up, we're gonna have a door contest, for Christmas, and you will be amazed how creative our parents can be when it comes to decorating doors, and we love to have volunteers such as well as we do like coat drives and so forth. So those are things that parents can volunteer and help us throughout the school year. They can come, and they just have to actually send a message to either call our front office or send a message to their teacher and see like how they can volunteer in their classrooms, as well as the library or in our school in general. Since, the whole COVID, we have not had parent volunteers this year, but we are, we're looking at that light, that we are in the hopes of starting that pretty soon though, with the opportunities of, the whole health situation at this moment, but we want to make sure that we can have that relationship again with them as well too.
Thank you for sharing that. It's really great to hear how everyone is working towards like creative and new creative and innovative ways to engage parents in the upcoming years. Would anyone else like to add? And if we don't have any more answers, we'll move to our next question. How do families engage with teachers, and what technology is used? And Jessica, since you were our last respondent, would you like to kick us off with this?
I would love to. I'm gonna pass it down to Ms. Brinkley, since she knows better at this than I do.
Yes, so there are many ways that we keep in contact with families. We think that family contact is so important, just to build that relationship with families. That the parents that are the most involved, we see the most success out of those scholars. So our teachers communicate with parents, once a month, either through Class Dojo, a phone call, or a text. And we kind of will just share the progress with the parent of how well the student is doing, any challenges that may arise. We try to keep the families well abreast. Sometimes we'll just send pictures to families on Class Dojo of their scholars' work, just so that the parents can see that there's a lot of good things that are happening in their scholars' classroom. Also, there are times when we'll have, if a teacher sees anything that they're like, oh, we need to have like a family powwow, then they'll schedule a meeting with that parent, and that parent will come to the school, meet with their teacher, interventionist, and any other stakeholders that are involved in that child's learning. If the school requests a meeting with you and your child, then that's normally if we need to discuss something that is important. And if a parent ever wants to schedule a meeting with the teacher, that is also an open opportunity. And we at the front office, we love scheduling parent meetings, just because having that face-to-face conversation is just so paramount. And you don't get the same over the phone as you do face-to-face. So we encourage family meetings and having those conversations with teachers so that the teacher and the parent can stay, I want to say one accord, but so that they can stay with one accord, because at the end of the day, the parent is our greatest resource for the scholar. So we want to leverage that relationship to make sure that the scholar is getting the optimal education in their classroom.
Thank you, Brianna. Thank you for sharing.
And if I could go real quick, and Brianna, you did a lovely job with that. Families can engage with teachers in so many different ways. We certainly use email, we certainly use Zoom, but we love to do face-to-face, and we're excited that that is hopeful in the coming weeks, because I think it's super important that we stay connected. Again, we're a partnership together for your child, and so there's no greater resource than the family. And so we just want that to be a relationship that's ongoing, and that it's engaging, and that it's close, because our kids are precious. And so we need to be working together constantly. We do use Chromebooks here. Every child, pre-K through 5th grade, has their own personal Chromebook that can come and go from school. Certainly if we get in situations where we have to Zoom, then they're at home with the computers. Otherwise, we try to use them here at this classroom. We have other types of technology as well, robotics and different kinds of STEM technology that we can use in our STEM learning labs. So there's other things that teachers teach with coding and different things that go with that. But the number one resource is teachers.
Sorry for the interruption.
Sorry, I've got a
teachers and students.
terrible.
If anyone has questions.
And as you all know, this is a live session. So thank you so much, Connie, for sharing about the STEM program. Would anyone else like to answer this question?
I'm going to just jump back in. She finished
Sure.
quickly. Thank you. My secretary is fast. And then I just wanted to add, because I apologize, but I'm going to have to jump off, but I wanted to let you know that we do have before and after care. And we will have that on our website, because the application process for it's going to be new, and we're just finalizing that now. But we do have before after care at Eisenhower. And then I did get clarification, so I do want to share with you that first question that we had. Let's see, from the district. They said that parents do have to have a state or federal issued ID, but that can be from your home country. And a passport would suffice. So I wanted to clarify that for you. And Whitney Matthews is on here. She's one of my lovely parents and board members, and can absolutely answer any questions about Eisenhower. I apologize for leaving early, but thank you for this opportunity. We hope so much that those listening to the recordings will consider Eisenhower. And if you have any questions, you can certainly reach out to us, and we'll be happy to answer those. And Miriam, if you need anything from me, I'll answer those questions and we can get that back to the group. Okay. Thank you again for this
Thank you
opportunity.
so much, Connie.
And my
Thank
apology
you.
for having to leave early. Okay.
Thank you for joining us, Connie.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Miriam, if you don't mind, I'd like to jump in and add a little bit more to the question about how we engage with families, or have that teacher-family engagement. Just like all the other schools, we do a lot of communication via, email, phone calls. We also use a program called Class Tag that you can download an app, put it on your phone, and teachers can send out basically like a push text that tells parents what is going on in the classroom or in the school. They can also send personal messages through that system. But the one thing that I think really helps Dove stand apart is our commitment to home visits. And home visits are optional, but what they do is they really tighten up that connection between the teacher and the family, not just the student. So they're just, 15, 20-minute meeting where a teacher comes to your home, or if you prefer a different site. I've been to soccer games and all kinds of other events for students where parents and the whole family are just there, and they're in a relaxed environment so that teachers can just kind of connect with them and brag on their students a little bit.
And our families are familiar with home visits, so that'll be something that's very similar to CAP's program. Thank you, Olivia.
May I share? Is there time? I'll be brief. We try to connect with families at least once a week. I know that it's a big change to go from CAP into a full-on public school with older friends. So we try to make sure that we're building that relationship weekly. And we prioritize phone-based technology. So that might be texting, that would be an internal app that we utilize called Seesaw, where we can post pictures and messages and show our scholars' works. But we do recognize that not everyone has a full computer setup with fast internet at home. So we've chosen to prioritize those phone-based ways of connecting, and we really do try to push for once a week, just a brief update to build those relationships.
Thank you, Whitney. And something that we've learned also through CAP is that those mobile connections are really, really necessary and really convenient for families during this time. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm going to jump back in really quickly before you go to the next question. I just realized I didn't share much about our technology. So we use computer adaptive technology to assess scholars on a monthly basis to determine where they are in their learning. And then we use that information from those tests to facilitate small group interventions directed by the classroom teachers. And each student has access to a Chromebook as well to use in class during math and small group time. But we also believe that face-to-face is important. So we limit the amount of time that scholars are in front of technology. So we try to limit that to 15 minutes per setting. And we also have a 3D printer and miniature robots that scholars have access to learn about coding. And we try to make sure that STEM is infused into other subjects as well.
Thank you, Brianna. Thanks for sharing a bit more about the program's approach to building those STEM and STEAM skills. Thank you. So the next question is, how can families enroll their children or child in before and after care?
If you don't mind, I'll jump in. Collegiate Hall does not currently have a set before and after care because our days are a bit longer. And we know that that's a lot to ask of our young friends. So we currently go from 8:10 to around 4:30. And that includes our busing and our transportation time. And even for our little ones, we have a lot of brain breaks and rest time built in there because it's a big change, and growing a big brain makes us really tired. And so we build those in and incorporate that into our play-based learning. That's it with Collegiate Hall. And like Connie said, I know that many of the TPS schools have before and after care, and all of that stuff would be on the enrollment website. So, and all of that would be online through enroll.tulsaschools.org.
Since Dove School is not associated with TPS, we have our own before and after school program. We have what's called Honeybee Learning, and students can come in as early as 6:30, and then they can stay after school from 3:30 as late as 6 p.m. And then they can enroll either at the school, they can get a paper application at their school site, or they can go to honeybeelearningok.com and they take the DHS funding and things like that. So however, any other daycare system that you've been using is paid, we'll also accept those as well. This is only for students from pre-kindergarten through age 12.
Thank you, Olivia. Brianna and Jessica, would you all like to add?
Yes, so at College Bound Academy, we have an independent aftercare on site called Play Hard Tulsa. You have to call them directly to apply for one of their aftercare programs and prices. They do accept daycare vouchers for aftercare. It's www.playhardtulsa.com. We also have enrichment curricula here. So we have art, music, physical education, and STEM and STEAM infused throughout the curriculum throughout the day. And like a lot of the schools on the panel, we have a longer school day. We start at 7:30 and we end at 3:30. Dismissal starts at 3:30 and ends at 3:45, and they could stay at Play Hard until 5:30.
Thank you, Brianna. Okay, and so with that, we'll move into the questions from the chat. Felicia, were there any questions in our Q&A box?
No, we did not have any additional questions. We do have a lot of good information that has been provided by a lot of our panelists. So once the session is completely concluded, we'll also be able to provide just a summary with some transcripts. So we'll make sure that a lot of this information, including some of the links that you all have provided, gets into that information packet as well. And then that will be accessible on our website.
Thank you, Felicia. And so with that, it's been an honor to have today's panelists speak and share more information about their programs. And we would really like to thank everyone who's attended the live sessions and those who will watch this particular session on the CAP Tulsa's YouTube page. So if you're seeking more information for how you can support your child's transition to kindergarten, please contact transitions@captulsa.org. And again, that Dropbox is transitions@captulsa.org. So thank you all so much for attending today, and we'll see you next time. Thank you.